welcome to another episode of English in Practice. It's Kareem with you, your English teacher. Today we will look at some English words that can be mispronounced by English learners. Now, you may be one of these learners, you just don't know it yet. Before we begin to look at these pronunciations, I want you to remember that these pronunciations are taken from academic dictionaries. So the pronunciations you will learn today are all formal and correct pronunciations. However, don't be surprised if you hear other pronunciations of the same words, especially when you go to other places or to places where English is spoken with different accents. Now let's begin. The first word for today is kernel. When I first read this word, I didn't pronounce it as kernel. I pronounced it as it is spelled. I pronounced it as colonel, because this is how it is spelled. And I would never think that the L in the middle of this word is not pronounced or is replaced with another sound. I believe many English learners fell for that trick too. However, I had a bemused impression on my face when I looked it up and learned that the correct pronunciation is not colonel. There are two ways to pronounce this word. The first way is kernel. The second way is kernel. Now, the first way, kernel, is usually British, and kernel is usually American. Both pronunciations are acceptable. As to the meaning, a colonel is an officer of high rank in the army or air force. So remember, every time you see the word colonel, the one you see on the screen, you pronounce it as colonel or colonel. So the L in the middle of the word is pronounced as an R. The second mispronounced word for today is the word cupboard. Now, some English learners may pronounce this word as cupboard or cupboard. But this is, of course, wrong. Now, if you pronounce it like that, or if you pronounced it like that at first when you first learned the word, it's okay, because this word does have two words in it. It has cup and board. And many people will think that it's pronounced as cupboard or cupboard. So this is the wrong pronunciation. The correct pronunciation is cupboard. A cupboard is a piece of furniture with doors and shelves in it. You mostly find cupboards in your kitchen where you can store canned food, spices, or whatever you store in your kitchen. The third mispronounced word for today is the word epitome. Now, I know we don't usually pronounce the E at the end of English words, but English is full of exceptions, and this word is one of these exceptions. So we say epitome. Now, if you pronounce it as epitome or epitome, it's okay. You're not to blame. But remember that when you learn a new word, you should always look it up in order to check the correct pronunciation. Because most dictionaries nowadays give you the correct pronunciation of words. So epitome that ends with an E is pronounced as epitome. Epitome is usually used in this phrase, the epitome of something. And the epitome of something as a phrase is usually used to refer to the perfect example of a quality. What does that mean? Let's have an example. Mr. Samuel is the epitome of honesty. Now, saying or referring to Mr. Samuel as the epitome of honesty is basically saying that Mr. Samuel is the perfect example of honesty. He is the best or the excellent example of an honest man. Technically, he is the best honest man. The fourth mispronounced word for today is the word mischievous. Some English learners pronounce it as mischievous, which is incorrect. The only correct pronunciation here is mischievous. The word mischievous is an adjective and is used to refer to someone's behavior, usually children's, as causing trouble, but in a playful way. Let's have an example. Kate has a mischievous sense of humor. This example means that Kate jokes around and is usually funny and definitely doesn't mean any harm to anyone, but sometimes her behavior can be harmful. The noun you see on the screen is pronounced as mischief, not mischief. The correct pronunciation is mischief. So the adjective is mischievous and the noun is mischief. The last mispronounced word for today is the word nuclear or nuclear. Now, there's a debate about this word. Some people pronounce it as nuclear, and usually this is a British pronunciation, and some other people pronounce it as nuclear, which is usually American. But this is not the debate. The debate is that people who pronounce it as nuclear are wrong, because the only correct pronunciation is nuclear, but this is not correct. Because if you check, or when you check any academic dictionary, it will state that both pronunciations are acceptable. So we will accept this fact and accept both pronunciations. As to the meaning, the word nuclear can have different meanings in different contexts, but the most common one is the meaning related to superpower weapons. So you will hear this word being used in phrases like nuclear energy, nuclear power plant, nuclear industry, etc. Today, we looked at some words that can be mispronounced by English learners. We looked at the meanings of these words and learned the correct pronunciation so that we can sound better when speaking English. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Thank you very much. Stay safe.